So we have UFC 4. It's one of my favourites to go back and watch. This is the fourth video on the MMA history, UFC 4, and yeah, got to add all the names in this one. This was UFC 4 was on in 1994, December the 16th, at the Expo Center Pavilion in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you had 3 alternate fights in the quarterfinal, semis, and final. The alternate fights, you had an interesting fighter called Joe Charles. Used to come out to the music. The ground was where I live. He's come out music, and that was his saying. Joe Charles. He was a wrestler. Didn't quite make it into Los Angeles 1984 Olympics. Had an accident, forklift accident. He defeats Kevin Rosier, the kickboxer, and had a small boxing career. Kevin Rosier. Joe Charles defeats Kevin Rosier in the first alternate fight there. A submission armbar. Then you got Mark Bossett, the karate guy, defeats Eldo Diaz Xavier. I think he was a Brazilian, if I remember. Might be wrong, but he loses by KO to Mark Bossett. Then you got Guy Mezger defeats Jason Fern, TKO corner stoppage. As I go through the rules, we go to the quarterfinals. This is an interesting bit here. So obviously the rules are still the same. No rounds, no time limit, no judges. Only a referee, which is John McCarthy. He's done literally all of them apart from the first one. And obviously the 3 rules, the usuals, no gouging, no biting, no groin shots. But one of them was impeached, them rules, and it was quite loose, the rules. So you've got, in that match, the quarterfinals, Keith Hackney defeats Joe Sun. A supposedly Taekwondo guy, and he did something called Joe Sun or something, his own, named it after himself, some martial art. He used to walk in with a cross and all that, as did Chemo. He's one of Chemo's stablemates. Joe Sun was in the James Bond films, etc. But he put Keith Hackney, the guy who beat Manny Yarborough in UFC 3. He put him in a headlock, and Keith Hackney hit him about 30 shots to the groin. He had to give up in the end. History would tell that was a good thing to happen, basically. It was karma in advance, really. Joe's son, what he got up to later on. But I'm not going to digress there. So, basically, yeah, that's quite a historic moment with the rules. So it was like, oh, groin shots are allowed. So it was a bit sort of loose, the rules there. Yeah, so you got Keith Hackney defeats Joe's son with groin shots, as he's trying to put him in a guillotine, Joe's son. But he was more of a wrestler, really, Joe's son. Little tiny guy, weighed a lot, but again, tiny guy, like as in height, but thick, very thick set. So Royce Gracie defeats Ron Van Cleef, karate guy. I mean, many different black belts and different arts. Quite a good age there, well into his 40s there. Did really good, actually, come out very strong, but Royce just took his time and got him a rear naked choke. Then you got Steve Gillum, the UFC 3 winner, ninjutsu stylist, supposedly, but he was more of a wrestler, really. Catches Melton Bowen with a lovely Sayanagi throw or sag throw. But Melton Bowen was a right boxer, heavyweight. He fought Jimmy Thunder for the WBF, a lesser world title in boxing, WBF version of the title. Joe Bugner would later win that at about 49, that WBF version of boxing. But I digress here. And he lost all his big fights, really, in boxing. lost to Shannon Briggs and Tony Tubbs, a little bit of an older version of Tony Tubbs, and Jimmy Thunder he lost to. But yeah, it's sort of fringe contender-ish. But he was allowed to wear gloves. First time I saw MMA gloves in these ones, I think. Yeah, because I didn't see it before. So that was an interesting thing with the rules. Gloves were sort of slightly come in optional, I think, here. As were wrestling boots, etc. But no kicking. So there's more than so many rules they say, obviously. But again, so we get back to... So Steve Jenham defeats Melton Bowen with a Sainagi throw. Beautiful throw. And then he gets a sort of gift-wrapped arm bar from the top, from what I remember. Dan Severn defeats Anthony Macias of a rear naked choke. Dan Severn, was judo, sambo, Greco, freestyle. Yeah, and then you had Dom Fry. I always get them two muddled up, but again, they both were really well adverse in many different grappling disciplines. So you've got the semi-finals. Royce Gracie defeats Keith Hackney, submission armbar. And then Dan Severn defeats Mark Bossett, the karate guy, the arm triangle. And then in the final, you've got Royce Gracie defeats Dan Severn, the triangle choke. You have to really fight for that. And that is the end there. But again, that's one of my best to watch, the old UFC 4. Always go back and watch that every now and then. Bang. So that was the end of UFC 4, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1994, shall I say. Expo Center Pavilions, December the 16th. Bang.